things extremely well. For those of you that weren't on early, Bo and I just closed a multi-million dollar deal down in Corona del Mar. And I really think, Bo, with that one, it's sneaky good. It's on China Beach, really exclusive, hard to get into, and it actually has the best of both worlds because you get the amazing ocean views. And on the right-hand side there, as you're facing the ocean, great beach access, but you don't get hammered because you're not in that first row, which is pretty nice. And again, ARV, I think on that thing's probably 10 million-ish, wouldn't you say, Bo?
We have it at 11 million.
11 million. Yeah, I zero doubt on that. So without further ado, I don't want to steal his thunder. He does a much better job explaining what he does with proportional ownership and his model. So I will turn it over to Bo.
Well, I appreciate that, Russell. It was a pleasure working with you on closing that China Cove deal. That was, we had been negotiating that one for quite some time, haven't we?
We had a whole year on that one also. I don't I think Bo at some point thought I was full of it. And I'm like, no, I got the inside track. It's a foreclosure. That's my specialty. And this is one of my accounts. And we finally picked it up. So I'm glad that we got it, Bo.
Yep, the long game. Yeah, similar to the golf course. Well, I appreciate the time, and it's a pleasure to see you folks, Don and Tom. Great to reconnect with you guys. Last time we spoke, we were just launching the Bellwood Investor app and creating these relationships with amazing brokerages, and EXP has been pretty monumental when it comes to really boosting Bellwood. We've bought in several properties off the express offers platform and multiple buy boxes, and just it's been a great relationship. So really happy to present what we've done in the last few years, where we're going, and how your agents can participate. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll launch this. All right. So a lot has happened since since we last spoke, Don and Tom. We've bought in some pretty unique properties that have really boosted Bellwood into the ultra luxury market. Russell and I just closed one at 4.3 million in Corona del Mar. Our buy is typically less than 50 million. We've gotten into the luxury market just because the competition that we were experiencing in the lower price points got a little too heavy. There's a lot of people playing in that market, not as many people playing in the luxury and ultra luxury market. So that's where we branched off to and have had tremendous success with that. But included with that were just a ton of speaking engagements. I've been able to secure a lot of media appointments and just really put Bellwood on the map. And when we get on the map, we are able to acquire more properties. And this is where partnerships with EXP really come into play. So just really happy to share this with you guys. One of the biggest properties that we just purchased, and I'll go over that in a little bit, was a property previously owned by Kanye West in Malibu. What that did was that put us on the, in the world picture. We were focused, or we were on Wall Street Journal, New York Post, LA Times. We were even on TMZ, which is a little funny. As after we bought the Kanye house, we were actually engaging in negotiations with the P. Diddy house, which is that's a bit of a slippery deal, if you know what I mean. And it's fairly complex, but that home was listed at 61 million. Our offer was 30. The agent and Diddy's team didn't really like that, but now our offer is 27.5. So we have an aggressive form of negotiations, but that's what put us on TMZ, Realtor.com, Yahoo Finance. We're even on Forbes. So it's been just a tremendous pathway that we've undergone. We're in 14 states now, and we just opened up Colorado. I heard just a moment ago you guys talking about Colorado. I was just speaking at the Peak Performance Summit that was put on by KW. However, there was numerous brokerages there, including EXP, where I was able to connect with agents there and just open that market to folks there. So Not only are we buying investment properties in Colorado now, but we also have our investor pool that's really excited about the growth. When I flew into Denver, I just was surprised at so much new construction. It was, I mean, that is a booming city. There's just a tremendous going on. Lennar was very thick out there. So that's not typically our product, but it does show growth. And there are neighborhoods with aged homes, even luxury homes, that are our product. So really excited to be working with Colorado agents. So if this is shared with folks out there, let's get going, because you download the Bellwood Agent app, you start submitting properties that fit our criteria, and just like what Russell did, you're able to acquire the home for us, represent us on the acquisition, and then when we're done renovating it, we give it right back to that agent to sell it for us. So really excited. We just opened up Pennsylvania as well, which is a great market. And if there's anybody that is listening to this right now on your platform and they're in a state that is not listed on this map, it doesn't mean that we're not there. We're partnered with some pretty heavy construction outfits. We're even partnered with Home Depot, where we have access to their contractors. So wherever you see that orange sign, you can also see a Bellwood sign there. So growth potential is huge, and we're really excited to be able to expand our markets. So if you're not on this map, and if let's say you're in North Dakota or South Dakota or Louisiana, hey, there's products everywhere. But we rely on the agents to find that product, educate us on that product, so we can successfully enter and exit a property and rinse and repeat that process. So again, if you're not on that map, let us know and find a product for us, and we will buy it. Just a little bit of history with us. This is Eva. Eva is an investor with Bellwood for the past 4 years, and she runs a credit counseling group called Empower You. And what she has done is, first, she tested the water with Bellwood. And just like most of our investors do, because there's no other company in the world like Bellwood. We are a fractional real estate investment company. I'll go into the details a little bit about that later. But what she did was she tested the water. She was very successful with Bellwood and is still very successful with Bellwood, but she shared it on her platform, which is educating people on credit. Now, this is not something that we participate in, but what she did was she shared it with these folks that would have never had the opportunity to invest in real estate, didn't have the time, money, or experience necessary to successfully acquire, renovate, and exit a property. But yet, most of her clients love the idea of real estate investing. As a matter of fact, I don't think there's many people in the world that don't like real estate in some capacity. This is where we raise our families. This is where our business is done, where our crops are grown. This is what everybody loves. And it doesn't matter if it's in the United States or Greece. As you saw on the previous map, we actually are buying in Greece right now. We're actually looking at Italy. So this is a global opportunity, not just for acquiring real estate, but for our investors around the world to invest in properties with Bellwood. So what she did was she shared it with her platform of over 1,000 clients. And I believe we've had maybe 400 of them fractionally invest in real estate. They were able to improve their credit, came up with some money, and were able to enter in a project that would have never been an opportunity for them. So just really cool that we're able to bring real estate investments to everybody, even people that are struggling with their credit. This is the full democratization of real estate investing, something that there is nothing else like out there. Now, there are REITs. There's a company called Arrived Homes that's backed by Jeff Bezos, but nothing that's secured or securitized like what we do with a deed of trust. And we have an app that follows along with all of the progress. So if you or if any of your clients, have the dream of investing in real estate, well, here's great testimony from someone like Eva and her clients. And she's absolutely able to be reached out to. She loves to talk with folks and share her experiences with Bellwood, as well as many of our other investors. We've never had an investor lose a dollar. We're very proud of that. But this is where our agent relationships come in, because it really depends on the product. We don't take any risks. We don't take any chances. So the product has to be aligned, even if it takes a year to negotiate a project. And Russell has firsthand experience of that time frame. We worked on that project for over a year, back and forth, fell out of contract. Our prices didn't align. That project ended up going into foreclosure. And then Russell was able to take it down with his experience, his tenacity, and we had a successful close at 4.3 million. But this is an opportunity for all agents in EXP, and especially your group, Tom. So really excited to be able to share that testimony with you and the opportunity with your agents. So what we've done is we've created something called the B52 method. B is just for Bellwood, very simple. We are sharing the profits on these projects 50%. So Bellwood takes 50%, our investors take 50%. But what do the investors come in with? Like, what is, we know that they're coming in with a fraction, but a fraction of what? So the fraction is 20% of the project cost. Well, people say, well, what is a project cost? Well, that's the acquisition, renovation costs, carrying costs, all of these costs bundled together. Our investors come in with 20% of that number. So let's just say we are buying a home for 1.5 million. It needs $500,000 worth of construction. That makes it a $2 million project. Of that $2 million, 20% is raised from our Bellwood Investor app, each investor secured with the deed of trust. And that number in this scenario, it would be $400,000. Now, some of our properties have had north of 500 investors on them. Our Kanye West house, which we don't refer to it as the Kanye West house anymore, it's the Bellwood house. That one has over 500 people on there that are going to experience an early exit. We're actually trading that one right now. But what they did is they came in with 20% of the project total. So if we're buying at 1.5, we're putting $500,000 into it, construction, labor, materials, you name it, carrying costs. Then our total amount is 2 million. Our investors are coming in with 400,000. And just to make numbers really easy, if we had 400 investors on there putting $1,000 each, well, now we have fully democratized a semi-luxury home, depending on where you're at. Now, $1.2 million isn't much down here in Newport Beach, might be able to get you a small condo. But in other areas around the state, and especially around the United States, $1.2 million, or excuse me, $1.5 million acquisition is a really nice purchase. So bringing this to folks who can just put in a small amount and have it secured has been a real game changer. In this situation, let's say we did have a project that was $2 million and our exit, let's say, is 2.5 million, which is fairly reasonable. All debts are paid when the construction is done. The home is sold at 2.5. Of course, we give it back to the agent that brought us, hopefully an EXP agent, and they make that second commission. They made the first commission on the acquisition. They make the second commission on the listing. So in this situation, let's just say we had $100,000 worth of closing costs associated with this, plus or minus. We'll just make numbers easy. That leaves $400,000 left in profit. Bellwood takes 50% and our investors take 50%. So now we're splitting $400,000. And as you recall, our investors came in with 400,000. So they would make 200 on their 400, which is a 50% profit. Our projects typically take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. It depends on the scope of work. And we outline that in our Bellwood Investor app. And those types of ROIs are fairly common. Right now, our ROI average is 27% in 250 days. Last year, it was 31%. But last year, and basically the year before is where we're getting these averages from. These were the year before acquisitions. So last year, as you guys know, was a really slow year. Hopefully it's going to pick back up. I've seen a lot of traction so far. So really motivated and inspired about what's going on right now. I think there was about 47% of agents across the United States didn't sell one property last year, which actually thins out the market when it comes to agents leaving the real hustlers, the agents that really take this seriously, not the agents that are just looking for vacation funds. We know all of them. This leaves the agents that are really able to focus their resources and their talents on a system that has been performing for many years, and that system is Bellwood. We are your trusted buyer. We're a cash buyer. We can close quickly. We can close and as long as we need to. Short sales are obviously something that we appreciate as well, and those take a little bit longer. But we are a buyer that is at your disposal. So not traditional real estate. You don't have to take us to a bunch of open houses. You don't have to worry about the color of the carpet or the damage to the home. What I like to say is mold is gold. So if it's a really gross home or something that needs a lot of work, then that is a product that Bellwood would acquire. The home in Corona Del Mar that Russell represented us on was a previous construction job. They didn't finish it. So the interior of the home was completely demoed. It was RTI. Basically, the permits were ready to go and really aligned with our systems. So just an insight on kind of the product that we're looking at right now. And I mentioned the orange sign. So Home Depot, we've established a relationship early on when we started Bellwood. They were able to see our growth in buying materials from them and how quickly it was going. Why Home Depot? Well, we're not a builder, right? We are not developing new construction. And when you develop new construction, typically what you're doing is you're buying units of lumber, you're buying units of drywall, you're buying bulk materials where you can get that from wholesale distributors right off the train, right off the truck, and there's a lot of cost savings associated with that. When you're renovating homes, as many of you know, we don't know necessarily how many pieces of drywall we're going to use. So buying units of these materials could be a waste and very costly. So we have to use a retail home improvement place like Home Depot or Lowe's. Now, the agreement that we have in place with Home Depot doesn't allow us to use Lowe's. We have an NDA signed with them. But what we've agreed on with Home Depot is Bellwood has access to their contractors. As long as we buy all the materials from Home Depot, we have access to the folks that are installing the floor. Everybody sees when you go into Home Depot, you buy the floor, we'll install it for X amount per square foot or for free. But nothing is for free. There's always cost built in there. And it doesn't matter if it's plumbing, could be hot water heater, could be HVAC systems, could be anything. What they're using are local contractors, vetted contractors, trusted contractors that have all of their paperwork in line. So if Home Depot is using them and has already done the vetting process, well, that saves us a lot of time trying to identify contractors in a certain area. So wherever you see a Home Depot is where we can not only buy materials, but we can access contractors. And as I'm sure most of you know, finding the right contractor in an area that you're not focused on or you haven't been focused on. For instance, we're in North and South Carolina. Sometimes it's difficult to find good contractors out there. They're on a bit of a different speed than California. So what we do is we just reach out to them and say, here's our scope of work. This is the type of contractors we're looking for. And they'll give us the names and numbers. And what's unique is we can bill this through Home Depot. So we would pay Home Depot, they would pay the contractors, and now that is essentially a Bellwood / Home Depot renovation. So it does have some perks associated with them. There is a little bit of an extra upcharge when we go through Home Depot, but even when we don't go through Home Depot, we still have access to their contractors, which ensure positive growth and forward momentum on our projects. One of the worst things that we can experience is a contractor that isn't qualified, and now we're having to do two things, double the project essentially. Oh, this wasn't done correctly. We're gonna have to redo it. That can really kill a project and eat up a lot of the profit on that. But along with Home Depot, we're partnered with PPG Paints, Behr Paints, and brokerages. KW, especially EXP, the Oppenheim Group, the Agency, Century 21. This is just a small drip in the bucket. These are just a few of the brokerages that we work with. We work with everybody. If they have a product and it fits our criteria, which I will explain some of our criteria in a little bit, and training on how your agents can really maximize this opportunity. But we work with everybody, and this allows us to empower the realtor in a day and age where technology is really trying to circumvent the realtor. There's so many different platforms out there that will list the home for extremely cheap, offer some online marketing, like HomeCoin, but that doesn't really work well with Bellwood. Why? Because we rely on the agents to educate us on that specific property or in that neighborhood. Sometimes you'll cross a street or railroad tracks. The old story. One side of the railroad tracks is nice, the other side is absolutely horrible. Well, we don't know those railroad tracks in different areas. We don't know which side of the highway is going to be the best. Now we can look on Zillow, we can look on MLS, we can look at comps, and that's going to give us a pretty good idea of which side is better, obviously. But even when you cross over and you're in a good neighborhood, there can be drastic differences. And I'll use something that is understandable for everybody on this podcast right now is the Fab 40s. The Fab 40s is a great area, East Sacramento. But if you cross a few streets, Folsom Boulevard, J Street, what you'll experience is a drastic change in values, just even from 39th to 40th or 45th to 46th. We're seeing a different value change there. It doesn't become the Fab 40s anymore when you go a little bit higher in the numbers. So these are things that we rely on the local education and experience of these agents. So we don't want to circumvent you guys. We want to partner with you guys because it's you who bring us these homes. And you're the trusted confidant. You guys are the folks that people reach out to where maybe a loved one is having a hard time taking care of a home. Maybe they need to move or downsize, or maybe it's a foreclosure like Russell had been really on top of that property in Corona Del Mar and staying involved. That takes a person, that takes experience and relationships. And when you have a platform that tries to circumvent those trusted agents, well, that doesn't align with what Bellwood does. So again, we partner with you guys to ensure forward growth and an inventory product for our over 6,000 investors on the Bellwood Investor app. So you may see a couple different brands with Bellwood. We just did a branding change. It's going to be launched with our V2 of our app. What's unique about our Bellwood app is it showcases the homes that you agents bring to us. Once a property is approved, it passes through underwriting. It goes up on our investor app, and many of our 6,000 investors are able to look at that property, basically look at a PPM, and decide on whether or not this is a comfortable project for them to invest in. Now, we've already done the math, and when we feel comfortable with it, spending our own money on it, then what we do is then present that to the app so people can feel comfortable about investing in a product that's been vetted by us. Now, we have a very thorough underwriting process. That, basically it depends on the agent. If the agent is well versed with the product that we purchase, then their close ratio is amazing. But if it's an agent that doesn't know necessarily the product that we're looking at and is submitting properties that were built in, let's say, 2020, well, and it just may have ugly carpet in there. Well, no, that doesn't really align with us because our margins aren't quite there. We not only need to renovate that home, but we need to obviously account for your commissions and on the list side, any taxes, fees associated with that. And then we need to make some money because that is what we're here doing, right? Bellwood Investor App is a means for people to invest in real estate and make money, not just play around in the real estate market. So the Bellwood Agent app, or excuse me, the Bellwood Investor app is going to be the product in which your homes are going to be listed and invested on. This app that is coming out, the V2, also really involves our investors in the investment process. And I'll give you an example. Everybody loves real estate investing. That's why there are over like 50 different channels on HGTV just focused around flipping houses, like flip this zombie house, flip that house, move the bus out of the way, and look at what we did with $10,000, which is really unrealistic. But what we've seen is there is a want, there is a need, there's a passion for this type of real estate investment. More so than crypto, more so than stocks. There's not 50 different channels focused around that. So this is an interest that spans all continents and all walks of life. And we are able to showcase this on the Bellwood Investor app. Now, part of that is the ability to vote on finishes. So one of the cool parts about investing in real estate, not necessarily managing the contractors or managing the budgets, that is something that we have systems set in place to do. But what is fun is choosing design, choosing colors, choosing hardware. So what we've done is we've placed a property, everybody invests in it, and now they get to vote on finishes. An example would be the color of the walls. Now, we know we want to stay a neutral color. We don't want it to be stark. We don't want to people coming in that home to say, oh my God, look at that red wall. I'm never going to be able to change that. Honey, let's turn around and walk out of here. We don't want that to happen. What we want is a really neutral color that the buyer, potential buyer, can say, you know what? I'm not a huge fan of white, but I can easily change that. We can have that painted. Sometimes people don't quite have that understanding. They'll see an obnoxious accent wall or whatever it may be and just walk out of the house. So if it's a white wall, what we'll do with our investors is we'll put that option for them to choose the wall color, but it won't be red, green, orange. It will be 4 different variations of white. So let's say on the color palettes, when you go into Home Depot, they have white sand or white linen or white clouds. So that's what we offer them. Now, each is a different shade of white, but it still aligns with our designers' ideas. So now our investors are able to select, well, I prefer the white linen walls with the off-white baseboard or whatever it may be. Now, I don't select these options. Our designers do that. But what it does is it involves the investor in the entire process, really making it enjoyable and giving them a sense of pride and ownership on this investment where they could say, you know what? Um, I'm one of 100 investors on this, and 80% of the time, the colors and hardware and roof style, whatever it may be, I was successful on. 80% of these were voted similarly, and I feel responsible for taking this to the finish line. And not only was I able to participate, but I was also able to make a huge ROI with that. So that is going to be launched with our V2. It's actually coming out here in about a month. Super excited about that. But what we've done is not only democratize real estate investing, but we've brought the whole process to people, the fun stuff, to people that would have never had this opportunity. Soon you'll be watching HGTV and there will be a commercial of Bellwood showing them that they do have options to do this. Because typically when you elbow your spouse and say, honey, I want to do that, that sounds so fun. Your spouse may say, well, we don't have the capital or the time or the experience to do that. Well, with Bellwood, you do have that with our Bellwood Investor app. Now, I spoke on this just a little bit ago. You find a property, you represent us on the acquisition, and just like what Russell's going to get, he's going to get that listing, that $11 million listing when we're done with that property. That project is going to take anywhere from 12 to 16 months. We're already underway. We have all of our plans and building permits being processed right now. Good thing it was RTI, which is ready to issue plans and permits. So through the Coastal Commission, which is a big deal. So if you're an agent here listening tonight, or excuse me, this morning, and you're near a coastal area, these are factors that we really need to take into consideration, because we could be sitting with the Coastal Commission for 3 years, and we've experienced that. We had a property in Summerland, which is over by Santa Barbara. Beautiful, beautiful property. And we thought we would be able to expedite the Coastal Commission, but no, we were not able to. Good thing we bought it at a really, really good price and we were extremely profitable, but the project ended up taking a year longer than expected. So with experience, gives us this, historical data to know that if we're in that area, we really, really want to check all of these boxes, dot all of our I's and cross all of our T's, because we want our investors to get their ROI as fast as possible. And if we're sitting on a property much longer than anticipated, then our investors aren't as happy as they should be. And our goal here is to absolutely empower our investors so they keep buying houses or keep investing in houses. And so what does that mean for you guys? Well, you find us good products, our investors make good money, we buy more houses, and you make twice the commission. Today, the market is unique. There's a lot of hurdles to overcome. The buyers, are obviously empowered. There's a lot of product on the market, especially down here in Newport Beach, Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, especially the Hollywood Hills, with the movie industry being a little diluted and diversifying to other states. There's a lot of product on the market. And so when we're buying in somewhere like the Hollywood Hills, which is traditionally an amazing market, we would want to know this. Hey, the market slowed down a little bit because a lot of folks are moving operations to Atlanta or Texas, in more affordable areas with tax benefits for the movie industry, which is going to impact the real estate market. Now, good thing about Hollywood is that it's a fun place, and there's a lot of YouTube streamers and social media guys really coming in and stepping up and taking on this Hollywood market and buying these homes. But what that does for us is we need to create basically entertainers' homes. We need to create homes that are really fun, have pools, a lot of accent lighting, LED walls, and just unique features where people can go create content in these homes. Those homes sell rather quickly. Not anymore is the days of just putting a nice home in the Hollywood Hills with a view. Those don't sell quite as quickly. But if you have all the bells and whistles that a streamer or a social media content creator can acquire, then that product goes. This is not the information that I got when I started buying homes in the Hollywood Hills. We had to pivot and find our niche when it came to Hollywood Hills. So now we're adding in all of these features, DJ booths, again, LED walls, pools with waterfalls and LED features that go through the water and kind of illuminate the water. These are fun, and where people can create this awesome content that we're able to watch online. So agents, we need the education, we need your experience, and for that, you're going to make twice as much money working with a company like Bellwood. And if you're sick and tired of working with traditional buyers and sellers, Well, we streamline the process. There's very little feelings involved with this. I'm not going to be upset if the deal goes through. One of our main things is, we have to be able to walk away from a deal. We're not going to stretch our budgets to accommodate many things. If there's something unique that we're not aware of, then we may adjust our pricing. But for the most part, our pricing has to align, and that's what keeps our investors safe. And that's what keeps us buying more and more properties and you making doubled commission. You're working with a traditional buyer, you're showing them homes month after month that I don't like the carpet, I don't like this, I don't like the color, I don't like the neighborhood. There's all of these factors that come into play when you're working with a traditional buyer. And one of the main things is when you're working with somebody and they're trying to find their forever home, well, that's your forever commission check from them, right? They're not going to say, oh my gosh, you found me my forever home. It's beautiful. We're going to live here forever. Now I want you to find me another forever home. That doesn't happen quite often. Now you may get some referrals from that, which is amazing. It's all about referrals as agents. But as far as that buyer is concerned, you're not really looking at a tremendous amount of repeat business, at least immediately. Now, a few years down the line, they may reach out to you and say, this forever home isn't so much our forever home. We'd like to find another one. Great. That's perfect. It's always great to maintain those relationships, send birthday cards. You guys know all the tricks. But when it comes to Bellwood, we don't say that. We want you to find the house. We want you to represent on both ends, and we want you to rinse and repeat that process, which really enables you to set up systems focused around Bellwood. We have some brokers and agents that have been doing this for quite some time that like to bring on new agents and assign them to Bellwood. What does that do? Well, it gives them great experience, not only working with an investment company, but just learning the overall process of processing a deal from start to finish. And whether or not they let them take on the listing, or they assist them with that is a decision between the broker and the agent. But what you can do is continuously build on these systems and bring on new agents and teach them. And so you can really expand your brokerage and your team by using this system. We're never going to say, okay, you found enough homes for us. They were amazing, but now you need to stop. If all of them fit within our metrics and our underwriting, then it's a rinse and repeat process where you can double your income using Bellwood. So I would encourage all of your agents who are listening to this to strategize. And we have systems and people set up to where you can work with us. You can attend comp training, really identify some of the properties that we like. So double the commission and rinse and repeat with Bellwood Investments. That is our systems. Here's an example of one of our houses that we bought in Beverly Hills. Now we like Beverly Hills. Now my corporate office is still in Folsom on East Bidwell. We're still there. We have a lot of operations up there. We also have an escrow company up there as well. So we basically started in Folsom, which was a great building platform. There's some luxury markets up there that we're able to dabble in, but it really created the foundation we needed to expand operations. And so we do still buy a tremendous amount in Northern California, in many other states as well. But what we did is we needed to focus on some of these high dollar areas such as Beverly Hills. And that's why I opened an office in Newport Beach. So I have, direct contact with our contractors, construction management teams. So we can really make sure that these homes are taken to the finish line successfully. Most of these homes are, north of 5 million. Some of them are north of 20 million. So it really demanded my personal attention. So that is why we opened another office down here. This purchase price was 5.5 million, which is reasonable for the area of Truesdale Estates in Beverly Hills. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Truesdale, but it's an amazing area of Beverly Hills that really limits developers, new construction developers, from going in there, tearing down a home and doubling the square footage. That is a developer move where they're able to make their profit. Here in Truesdale, you're not able to build two stories. You're not able to add that second story unless it's a grandfathered in and you're not impacting anybody's view, which there are very, very few properties like that in Truesdale. So what that leaves is the existing shell of the home that we need to renovate and bring up to Bellwood standards and a product that we're going to be able to sell. Now, this isn't a Hollywood Hills project. These are more established buyers, 10 plus million, where they appreciate privacy. So it's more about the finishes, privacy, quality of work that we focus on here. Not saying that all of our other homes, we don't focus on the quality of work, but here we're importing, unique stone, unique glass from outside the area because these buyers are extremely educated and they know what they like. So this home we bought for 5.5. Our construction budget is 1.5 million. Our investors came in with about 1.4 million on this. Our exit price is 10.7, which values have actually gone up a little bit in the Truesdale area. Our exit right now is a little bit closer to 11 million with an estimated ROI of 75% to our investors. This is extremely realistic. We're also very conservative with our numbers. But this property has been in construction right now for about a year. We have a few months left to complete it. We ended up adding on 600 square feet. There was a courtyard that could be developed where we weren't doubling the height of it. We weren't adding a second story, but rather filling in a courtyard. This is a move that we're able to do. Now, new construction developer doesn't really like restorations. Again, I'm going to tell you why. They are much, much more complex. You have a home that was built in, let's say, 1960. It's probably had 20 different contractors using 20 different methods of construction, using 20 different styles of material and electrical and plumbing. So when we get into these projects, there's a lot of education that needs to take place. So our contractors are well aware of this and they're used to it versus a new construction guy. He gets his set of plans, pre-approved plans. It's basically like putting together a model. You know how many screws and nails you're going to use on that project because everything is laid out by that architect. You know how much wood you're going to use. You know how many units you're going to buy of wood. You know how many units of drywall you're going to use. You know absolutely everything you're going to use. Now, when a developer who's used to that streamlined process goes into a project like this, where we're piecing it back together and improving it, it could be quite complex. So that's a real great niche for Bellwood in the Truesdale area. So if any of your agents are listening right now and they're familiar with Truesdale, this is a really, really good market for us. But this is not a unicorn. There are other areas that have height restrictions where developers aren't able to go in there and just tear down a place and double the square footage. So if you can identify a place like that, probably in the Bay Area where views are very valuable and you don't want to get sued by building a second story and impacting their view, well then that is a great area for Bellwood to acquire. Another property, this is
Hey,
a
oh,
property.
hold on
Hey,
a second.
Yes.
yeah,
Because we're running out of time, and I'm super stoked with what you're doing, and I want to be able to ask a couple clarifying questions for
Sure.
myself, but I'm imagining that others might have similar questions. Um, I was impressed when you presented your model to us a couple of years ago,
Yep.
and I can see you've even refined it. I love how you pivoted into the luxury niche to get yourself with less competition. And what, so I just want to make sure that I understand this so that what happens is when you guys, let's say I just want to play as an investor, which would be more my case because I'm not practicing real estate myself at this time. So if I see a project that comes up on the app, I can choose to participate in that project. You guys might be, the 20% might be $1 million, but I could put in $10,000 $100,000 or $1 million if that much space was available in that deal. First of all, am I getting that right? And can I do it with self-directed retirement funds is the second part of that question.
Absolutely. So we're part of the Entrust group as well as other custodians, 401k custodians. As we know right now, 401ks are a little bit in danger. So we do work with them quite a bit. You're able to direct those to our platform and you can invest. So a little bit later on in the slides showcase the Kanye West home that we had where we raised about 7 million on that. And the entry on that was $1,000. But we also had investors come in with over $1 million. We had 2 investors come in with over $1 million. So it really depends on your comfort level and you know, what you feel it would be appropriate for you.
Yeah, okay. So one of the things that I want the agents to be aware of, you guys, is that this is a tremendous opportunity as it was for Russell in the Corona project. So you guys could be double ending it. Mind you, I'm sure you're hearing loud and clear that they're expecting to make a profit. So it has to be a legitimate, great buying, great opportunity for all parties concerned. That being said, there's also a play here for you to be communicating with your client base and talking to them about essentially passive investing, right? I don't have the resources or the inclination to want to do flips like Russell has done, for example, right? But what's fun, what I love about this is we could participate. Like if we happen to believe that the Southern California market is a market that you want to invest in, you could choose that. Or as Bo mentioned, he just went into Colorado. If you're a fan of Colorado, you could play in that market with them. And I'm presuming all of these, when a opportunity comes into the app, what would you say is a typical window of time before that is fully subscribed? So how much time do we usually have to see an opportunity? And does your app also have, like, can I put in a buyer box and will the app alert me if such a thing, or do I just need to keep an eye on what the opportunities are? How does that part work?
Yep. So when you download the app, you also get pop-up notifications when we have a new property that comes up. So you'll be able to identify a new property there, but also pop-up notifications on progress of the home. So if you've already invested, you want to know what's going on with the property, you're fully up to speed on where we're at with that project, budgets, and everything associated with that.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. You guys, so keep in mind right now, in the United States, there's $35 trillion in property equity in our clients' homes. Okay. And so they're sitting on a gold mine. And what Bo is presenting to us is an opportunity, I guess, that historically is earning about 27%. But at 24%, if you apply the rule of 72, that at a 24% rate of return, your money is going to be doubling every 3 years, right? Because you take 72, divide by 24, it's 3. So if you have clients that are investing, and let's say they could achieve a 24% annualized rate of return, which no promises going forward, but that's what they've been able to achieve historically, okay? Your clients are going to be doubling their investment every 3 years. That is bananas, right? You're going
One
to
of
have
the
some
cool
raving fans on your hands.
Absolutely. So one of the cool things that we've done and implemented is the agents who bring us a property, and it's so many times they've said, "Bo, there's so much meat on the bone. You guys are going to do great." Well, now we allow the agents to credit some of their commission as an investment on that property. So they may not have a tremendous amount of capital, but let's just say they made $100,000 in commission or $50,000 in commission. They want to put 2,000 on a project or 5,000 on the project. Now they can not only participate, they can make their commissions, but participate in that project as well and make those returns.
How many deals have you done, Bo? What's the track record now?
1,200.
1,200. And you're saying in 1,200 deals, you've never had a client lose money.
Not one.
And what's been the average annualized rate of return from day one?
Well, so me personally, I have done 1,200 transactions. Bellwood with Bellwood has done 648, and we've
Okay.
never lost an investor dollar. Prior to that, I wasn't investing with a group of people. Now, when I
Hmm.
first started this in 2007, when the market crashed and I needed to pivot, there were definitely some times where I broke even, but I didn't have partners on that. So as far as
Sure.
Bellwood investors are concerned, or any other investors, you will never find somebody that say they lost a dollar with Bellwood.
And do you know have you looked at what your, on those 648 deals, have you looked at what your average annualized rate of return has been for them?
27%.
It's been 27. Yeah, that's bananas. Now, you guys don't go telling your clients they're going to make 27%, okay? But that is a pretty amazing historical average.
It is.
And if they made 12%, their money would double every 6 years, okay?
Hey,
And so just keep in mind your clients, you don't want to be using the equity in your property as a piggy bank to be buying luxury items necessarily. But even at today's rate, if they did a HELOC, at 7%, and they were making even 12, but ideally 2024, you know, that's not a horrible scenario.
Yeah, no, that's a
hey,
great scenario. And we do have a lot of
so-
folks that access their equity via HELOCs. They take those funds and they invest in investment real estate.
hey, but I
Yeah.
know we're running out of time. If I can jump in real quick, just from my personal experience, because Bo, I've done I think 4 deals with you guys. And I was with you guys before you pivoted to the luxury space. And when Bo says, I mean, on 3 of the deals did fantastic, and when we were doing the smaller homes, they were turning quick. And so in I think like 60 to maybe 100 days, we were turning, and I was making a profit, and it was completely hands off for me, which was fantastic. I love that. And then on the 4th deal, and when Bo says that his clients haven't lost money, we had a deal and it was out in the sticks outside of Winters that, I mean, I went and looked at this place before I put money into it. And I go, well, Bo's done right by me out of 3. I'm trusting him. We got in that deal. Long story short, there were problems, this, that, whatever. And the integrity that Belmont did was they basically came to me and they said, hey, we're selling this place. You're not gonna get any money, but you're not gonna lose any money. I think I didn't know the final numbers. I think Belmont actually ended up eating the and some profits on that deal so that they could make me whole. So I got all my investment back off of that one. Um, so that was just that spoke volumes to me. But the 3 other ones, I mean, I did fantastic. And so yeah, I mean, it's just I've been really happy. Again, totally hands off. I don't have time to find, fix, flip, all that stuff. I just trusted the company, listen to what Bo said. I mean, you heard today he's doing a great sales pitch, which I heard, and I just had faith in it, went with it, and I mean it's been fantastic for me. I've been really happy. So now they pivoted into the luxury space, and there's some opportunities there. So yeah, from an investor standpoint, I'm completely happy. It's been fantastic.
Hey, by the way,
Thank
we
you,
didn't we
Steve.
didn't
I really
plant
appreciate
Steve.
that.
Yeah, and Steve's not a plant. I didn't know he was coming on. And Bo, folks are asking questions on how they get involved. Is there training? We've been actually out of time for 13 minutes, and we still have a lot of people here, which is great. Do you want to let them know how they get involved and how to get a hold of you?
Yeah, let me share my screen. I'm going to go to one more, just finish up these slides real quick, and I'll go really fast. All right, so this is the Kanye house. We're actually trading this at 31 million, guys. So if you guys have some big properties, I'm on Netflix selling Sunset now. That's kind of fun. But we bought the Malibu house for 21, exiting, trading for 30 million. This is who is going to provide comp training. This is your guy right here. He's my VP of sales. He's actually in our corporate office. Spencer at thebigco.org. He does these last Wednesday of every month at noon. But if you email him, he will send you some information so you guys can start processing these immediately. I know you guys kind of get pumped up, ready to go. Email him. He will respond, and we will be able to get going. Here are two apps. Here's the Bellwood Investor app. Screenshot, take it with your picture on your phone. This is the Bellwood Investor app. You download right through the QR code. I'll give you guys a moment to do that. Very important if you guys want to participate in investing like Steve has done. And then here is our agent app. This is where you guys are able to submit properties to us. Now, the reason why we have the agent app is because sometimes we have agents submitting the same property. We can't have that. Obviously, we don't want to have multiple people representing us on the same property. That could be all bad. So it's whoever submits it first. Doesn't have to be their listing, could be somebody else's listing, could be off market, but you're going to put it through the agent app and we will be able to process that. Here are our socials. You guys can find me on Instagram at Bellwood Bow or at Bellwood Investments, our website, and there's my email address on the bottom. So if you guys want to reach out to me personally and just ask some questions, jump on a Zoom, whatever it is, I'm so happy to work with you guys and share that.
Beautiful. I know Tom had to hop, and so I will close this out like he always does and say thank you so much to Bo. This was super cool. And everybody now has one of the most powerful buyers in the United States in their hip pocket, right? So that was the value add today. If you don't take advantage of Bo and I took advantage of $4.3 million of his money, right? And earned a very nice commission. I'm looking forward to the second one. As Tom says, you now have the inspiration, time to go out and put in the perspiration. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Bo.
All right. Thanks, Bo. Thanks, Russell. We'll see you guys. Good job.
Yeah,
See ya.
we'll see you
I thought
there.
you were gone,
Take care,
Tom. No
Tom.
worries. Thank you. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.